let's have a look to the course component. Okay, so just we will not be dealing with anything else. Just to have an idea, we will start this today's course with a question: what is comparative literature? In our introductory speech, we have learned that is comparative literature will be comparing different literatures and different cultures, and it will also be comparing different different um, different translations, different cultural things, and everything else. Okay, so what is comparative literature? Comparative literature involves the study of text across cultures. That we have got the idea. It means across culture, every geographical location, every country will have its own culture. In a literature, we will see the culture of the specific country. And in comparative literature, we will be comparing a text of a culture with other text of other cultures. Okay, so we will be discussing in comparative literature. It's very general idea. That is, comparative literature is interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary means interdiscipline. So literature can be compared with one culture with another culture, with one discipline with another discipline. That means with the discipline of literature, Bangla literature, or with the discipline of English literature, with the discipline of Arabic literature, with the discipline of French literature. And for this reason, comparative literature is called interdisciplinary. Okay. And it is concerned with the patterns of connection in literature across both time and space. That means a little bit back, we had been discussing, that is William Shakespeare's Tempest and Amy Caesar's Tempest. So William Shakespeare's wrote Tempest in a different country, in a different perspectives, but following the same thing, we will see that Amy Caesar has written another drama, and the title of the drama is A Tempest. So the time of writing of this both text and the space, that means in which area it was written, and what is the theme of William Shakespeare's Tempest, and what is the theme of Amy Caesar's Tempest. Everything will become compared. So comparative literature, what it will do, it will discuss the connections. It will discuss the linkages of literature of the different cultures. For example, two literary pieces of two languages as well as cultures can be compared in one hand, and on the other hand, two literary pieces of one language, but produced in different times and places, can also be compared in comparative literature. Okay. So not only the literature of English language and Bangla language, even in the literature of English language, one literature may be produced in one time, another literature may be produced in another time. So literature from one language, but these literatures are produced or written in two different times. That literatures can also be compared in comparative literatures. Okay. Again, both structure and pattern, as well as any sort of thing which is noticeable and researchable in two pieces of literary text, can be compared in comparative literature. First time we said that literature of two different language. Again, second time we have said that one literature of one language, but they are written and produced in two different times. That can also be compared. Again, that can be compared with both structure and pattern of a literature, and that is noticeable and researchable. If it is researchable, then that can also be compared in comparative literature. Researchers or readers may compare the similarities between text and authors from different linguistic, cultural, and contextual context. So researcher and reader, with the help of comparative literature, they can discuss the similarities and the different similarities and contrast. What is the similarities between William Shakespeare's Tempest and Amy Caesar's A Tempest? What is the difference? What are the differences between William Shakespeare Tempest and Amy Caesar's Tempest? And what is the contextual similarities? What is the contextual differences? What is the cultural similarities? What is the cultural differences? What is the linguistic similarities? What is the linguistic differences? So that will also be compared in comparative literature. In this regard, Matthew Arnold, that means you know that Matthew Arnold is an English Victorian poet, writer, a type of writer who chastises and instructs the reader on contemporary social issues. Okay, this is Matthew Arnold, our writer. Matthew Arnold, in his inaugural lecture at Oxford in 1857, he said one thing, and that thing is very important for comparative literature. We talked about the connection and linkages. So Matthew Arnold, that means in 1857, Matthew Arnold said that is everywhere there is a connection. Everywhere there is an illustration. No single event, no single literature is adequately comprehended except in relation to other events or to other literature. So in this regard, we can say that Matthew Arnold's comment enhanced comparative literature in a way. That means without the idea of day, we can't understand the idea of night. Without the idea of good, we can't understand the idea of bad. So good and bad, day and night, in such a way, Matthew Arnold said that yes, actually without connection, without illustration, a single event or a single literature is not adequately understandable. So literature will gain its true place when it will be compared with other literature. And literature will be compared with other literature. That is the important thing for the literature. And in which way it will be compared? It will be compared with the methodology of comparative literature discourse. It means our understanding and reading will be appropriate when we will be comparing Chaucer. Chaucer, you know, English poet, author, and civil servant. And we can compare Chaucer with Boccaccio. Boccaccio is an Italian writer. And we can also compare William Shakespeare, English poet, with the source materials, with others. Okay, so we can compare Chaucer with Boccaccio. We can compare William Shakespeare with other dramatists like Amy Caesar's A Tempest. Okay, and also we can compare the source materials of William Shakespeare's dramas. William Shakespeare has written so many dramas, but in every drama, we will see a story. What is the storyline? What is the source of William Shakespeare dramas? These sources, William Shakespeare took, that sources might be from Latin, from French, from Spanish, or Italian folk tales and cultures. Okay, so Shakespeare's can also be compared with Baudelaire, with another literature, and Baudelaire with Edgar Allan Poe. William Shakespeare's can be compared with Amy Caesar, and Baudelaire, Baudelaire with the French writer and with Edgar Allan Poe, American poet, writer, editor, and literary critic, best known for his poetry and short stories. Okay, so we can compare Baudelaire with Edgar Allan Poe. These are the way we can compare with other writer. Okay, and what is the methodology and what we will be comparing? Not only the language, literature, structure, culture, theme, genealogy, everything will be compared in case of comparative literature. Again, we can compare the many English novelists are influenced by the great 19th century Russian writers in translation. Even as I have said, that the Russian literature that were written in Russian language. Okay, So we see that many English, that means British novelists, they were influenced by the Russian writers. So that influence